Hey guys, we're on to chapter 13 and going to talk about organizational, political, and personal power. So, power is the authority and ability to get things accomplished, the capacity or potential to get others to do something one wants them to do that they would not ordinarily do otherwise. It's the potential of an individual or group to influence the behavior of others. Gives one the potential to change the attributes and attitudes and behaviors of individual people and groups. Powerlessness, although the adage that power corrupts might be true for some, it may be more correct to say that powerlessness, not power, corrupts. Although power is a universally available resource that does not have a finite quality, it can be lost as well as gained. So, sources of power, the different types and sources. You have reverent, which is associated with others, legitimate, which is your position, coerce, which is fear, reward, which is your ability to grant favors, expert, which is your knowledge and skill, charismatic, which is your personal power, and informational is the source is the need for information. Authority and the power gap. This is the right to command. Command does not ensure that employees will follow orders. Just because you have the authority doesn't mean employees are going to follow orders. The more power subordinates perceive a manager to have, the smaller the gap between the right to expect certain things and the resulting fulfillment of these expectations by others. The negative effect of a wide authority power gap is that an organizational chaos can develop. So if a manager asks personal questions of employees, how does this affect the authority power gap? A, it widens it, or B, it narrows it. A, it widens it. And the reason for this is when a manager expresses personal interest in employees, it widens the authority gap. So organizational authority power response. So you have legitimate authority of the position, plus the perceived power of the manager, plus the socialization of individuals to power or authority figures. That's going to equal their response to authority. So the actual authority the position has, how that person perceives the power of that manager, and then the socialization of the individual to authority figures and how socially they feel about them is how they're going to respond to authority. Bridging the authority power gap. Overt displays of authority should be used as a last resort. A leader should make a genuine effort to know and care about each subordinate as a unique individual, and the manager needs to provide enough information about organizational and unit goals to subordinates so that they understand how the efforts and those of their manager are contributing to the goal attainment. Empowerment occurs when leaders communicate their vision, employees are given the opportunity to make the most of their talents, and learning, creativity, and exploration are encouraged. Empowerment plants seeds of leadership, congeniality, self-respect, and professionalism. Mobilizing the power of nursing. 6 driving forces that increase nursing's power base are when the timing is right, the size of the nursing profession, nursing reverent power, increasing knowledge base and education for nurses, and nursing's unique perceptives and desire of consumers and providing for change. These are the 6 driving forces that increase nursing's power base. An action plan for increasing the power for the nursing profession includes to place more nurses in positions that influence public policy, so have more nurses that are advocating at the legislative level, increase level of nurses' understanding regarding all healthcare policy efforts, build coalitions within the outside of nursing, promote greater research to strengthen evidence-based practice, support nursing leaders, pay attention to mentoring future nurse leaders and leadership succession, and stop nurses from acting like victims. Reminder, changing your nurse's view of both power and politics is perhaps the most significant key to proactive rather than reactive participation in policy setting. Tell whether the following statement is true or false. A nurse who lobbies for changes in evidence-based nursing practice is using a reactive approach to policy setting. That's false. Challenging nurses' view on both power and politics is perhaps the most significant key to proactive rather than reactive participation in policy setting. Building a personal power base, maintain personal energy, present a powerful picture to others, work hard and be a team player, determine the powerful in the organization to know who's making the key decisions, learn the language and symbols of the organization, learn how to use the organization's priorities, and then increase professional skills and knowledge. You also need to maintain a broad vision, use experts to seek counsel, so constantly be asking those experts in the areas for advice, be flexible, develop visibility and voice in the organization, and learn to accept compliments, maintain a sense of humor, and always work to empower others. Which of the following is not a rule for keeping power? A, form alliances, B, do homework, C, practice benign neglect, and D, be competitive. D, be competitive. It is more advantageous to avoid competition when seeking power. Although power is a universally available resource, it does not have a finite quality and can be lost as well as gained. Negating the effects of organizational politics. To do this, you need to be an expert handler of information and communication, be a proactive decision maker, expand personal resources, develop political alliances and coalitions, be sensitive to timing, promote subordinate identification, view personal and unit goals in terms of the organization, and leave your ego home in a jar. Queen bee syndrome. Female-dominated professions often exemplify the queen bee syndrome. The queen bee syndrome is a woman who has struggled to become successful, but once successful, she refuses to help other women reach the same success. Don't be a queen bee syndrome. It's always important to help grow those around you. Tell whether the following statement is true or false. Empowering subordinates often undermines one's own power. This is definitely false. Empowering subordinates is, in fact, one essential strategy to maintaining power. You need to always make sure you're growing those underneath you. Keeping power requires 4 things: maintaining a small authority power gap, empowering subordinates whenever possible, using authority in such a manner that subordinates view that what happens in the organization is necessary, and using political strategies to maintain power and authority when necessary. And that's it for chapter 13. Thanks, guys.